Hello, and welcome to the Superintendent Effect, a podcast where we highlight strong leaders building strong communities. I'm Ann Brown. I'm the president and CEO of the Cook Center for Human Connection. And today we are so excited to be joined by Dr. Michael Lubelfeld, superintendent of North Shore School District 112 in Illinois, just north of Chicago. Mike, welcome, and thank you so much for joining us today.
And it is wonderful to be here. A longtime friend of yours, longtime fan of your leadership, and real happy to be here on the podcast today. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you. Right back at you. Mike and I met many years ago talking about personalized learning and figuring out how we could use technology to really support kids. Let's start with that, Mike. What are some of the exciting uses of technology? I've always seen you as one of the tech leaders in the country when it comes to superintendency.
Well, I will tell you, so it is nice to show off a pair of AI glasses, right? So I don't just look cool like a blues brother from Chicago, but these are the Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses. So these are kind of fun and cool, more of a whimsical check. I also do have an actual professional pair of smart glasses from Even Realities where I've used transcription as well as teleprompter. And what's more fun for kids here in our pre-K-8 school district of just about 4,000 students, we are piloting, experimenting, processing, getting comfortable with generative artificial intelligence. And I'm telling you, in all these years, and in all of the quest for individualization, differentiation, high rigor, personalization, you name it, the opportunity is literally in our fingertips and in our pockets with these devices and everything else. I'm all for responsible artificial intelligence usage in terms of literacy, fluency, ethics, understanding what it can do, what it could do, what it should do, what it shouldn't do. And I'm very excited to be a part of an actual on-the-ground action research project engaging with real live fourth graders and eighth graders at two of the schools in our school district as part of my fellowship with Google and GSV, studying students' perceptions of generative artificial intelligence vis-a-vis their own agency and voice, choice, relevancy, and rigor, differentiation, and performance in school. So thank you for asking, but there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, well, kind of give me an example. Like, what would be a typical response from a fourth grader when you're checking in with them on that?
Well, I'm going to tell you next time I talk to you because this project is just starting.
Oh, okay.
So in meeting with the teachers, our aim is to say, okay, superstar fourth graders, A, we want to find out, do you even know what AI is?
Mm-hmm.
We suspect they do. What is it? Why do you care? Why do we care? What can we do with it? And are you willing to use it to learn, to show what you're learning? And then I will let you know in my various formats what they're thinking. But right now, I don't know.
Well, I'm excited to hear the follow-up. Maybe I'll see you in February and at the AASA conference. So I will follow up with you then. So you've been a superintendent now for 16 years. You've been 7 years in your current district. I've had the opportunity to visit you, which was amazing. Tell me about your path to the superintendency. How did you get to the seat that you're in?
I've had amazing guardian angels throughout my career, wonderful mentors, coaches, and guides and friends who've seen things in me that I may or may not have even realized I had in terms of leadership capacity or aptitude or even interest, quite frankly. And I started as an eighth grade social studies teacher. It's still my heart and soul. And there was an assistant principal, Jim Newland, who really tapped me on the shoulder and said, I think you should be an administrator. I said, gosh, Jim, I love being a teacher. Why on earth would I ever be an administrator? Well, one thing leads to another, went to the coursework, job opened up, Jim guided me there. Other people have taken me under their wing. And Ann, been a teacher, been a summer school principal, I've been a curriculum coordinator, assistant principal, assistant superintendent, and I've been a superintendent in 3 districts. Again, great people tapping me on the shoulder, suggesting, offering, guiding, and then supporting my way as I've learned, led, made mistakes, and gotten up from those mistakes.
Well, that's amazing. And I know that you also share your journey and your knowledge, and you have a very good friend that we both know, Nick Poliak, and you guys have written some books. Tell us about that.
So Nick is my brother from another mother, amazing guy, just really awesome. Everyone should have a friend like Nick in their lives and a professional partner. So Nick and I met at the Illinois School of Advanced Leadership in our second and third years, respectively, in the superintendency in Springfield, Illinois, our state capital. And then after that 18-month leadership cohort, we said, gosh, this is incredible. Then the AASA had their national superintendent certification program. So we went there. Well, out through opportunity and people like you who we've met along the way, and Mort Sherman and Brent Clark. I mean, I can go on and on with incredible people. We got motivated to write. Some people play golf, we write. Some people, are gardeners, we write. And so we are releasing our fifth book next month. It's
Amazing.
called Leading for Tomorrow's Schools Today by Bloomsbury Academic and AASA. Tom Murray wrote the foreword. Other friends of ours have written vignettes, and Nick and I have written 3 books with PJ Capozzi, another great friend and wonderful superintendent here in Illinois. We're very proud that our professional journeys, our professional experiences are able to be categorized, memorialized, documented, recorded, and shared, because so many have helped us. Any small way, if we can help others, it really fulfills us and fills our bucket, as they say.
Well, I can't wait to read your 5th book. That's going to be exciting. You've got a couple about leadership. Most of them are about leadership, it looks like. Some directly for teachers and then one directly for students, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, Mike. I know another thing that's really important is mental health and community leadership. And I know there was a tragedy in your district. And I just, talk a little bit about how you're supporting your community as a whole after that.
Absolutely. So, a little bit of context. The school district here has been keenly aware of school safety and school security for many, many years. There was an unusual school shooting in a neighboring community years ago before it became more widespread. Early on, a shooting was thwarted because there was early security in one of the schools. I'm talking 25 years ago. So then Columbine in 99. The school district's been very sensitive. So we had done a number of school safety assessments. And then after the COVID pandemic, which in and of itself was stressful, right after that, I think you'll remember the tragedy in Uvalde, Texas. At that point, it was May. The school district said, gosh, it's been a while since we've looked at school safety and security. We're coming out of COVID. We're going to reopen our schools. Let's dust off the old assessment. Let's hire someone to come do a safety assessment. And that was in May. So in June, the board hired the safety assessment. We thought we were coming back in August from COVID. So we had hired a school psychologist from the area, Dr. Doug Bolton, superstar. It was going to be coming out of the trauma of the pandemic and the change in society. And then we had this underlay, not overlay, but underlay of Uvalde. Then on July 4th, 2022, the city of Highland Park, where 8 of our 9 schools are located, there was a mass murder, a mass shooting. 7 people lost their lives that day. More than 50 were physically injured and thousands were emotionally injured. And all of a sudden, School District 112, July 4th, was not in session. We had summer school, but the rest of the school was not in session. It was not a school shooting, but it was a mass shooting in the community, and thousands of our people were impacted. Youth, adults, employees, and adjacency. The school psychologist, Dr. Bolton, who we had hired, was pivoting from coming out of COVID to coming out of trauma. We also learned what trauma-informed practices were versus general counseling and general outpouring of support. And on July 5th, together with the neighboring district, we launched drop-in counseling sessions, and not really knowing what we were doing, saying yes to everybody that came in to help us, accepting squishmallows and food and all sorts of wonderful things. And we launched into a 5-week crisis-motivated, adrenaline-driven, fright-filled shock, community partnership, and trauma-informed return to school. And we haven't looked back. We've invested probably $8 million in physical and mental fortifications over the past several years. And I'm real proud of our commitment to normalizing mental health, destigmatizing mental health, and offering scores of resources for children, youth, families, community, and staff. Thank you for asking.
Well, amazing. One of the things that we talk about here at the Cook Center is the availability of resources, the accessibility of resources, the acceptability of resources, and the affordability. What an amazing way to mobilize in a day and create that for your entire community. And my heart just went out to you guys when that happened, and to see how you responded. That's exactly what this podcast is about, is strong leaders building strong communities. And they couldn't have had someone better in the seat at the time. So thank you so much for that.
You're very kind. I thank you. I also stand on the shoulders of giants with our teachers and support staff and parents and board and city partners. I'm not alone. I have an army of wonderful people, Coalition of the Good. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I love that Coalition of the Good. We always get some really great statement out. I think that's the one from this one. So thank you. Tell me, over time, you've had 15 years, you've been a superintendent in 3 different districts. How did your leadership style change in that time frame?
Oh my gosh. So, as a 57-year-old man today, I hope I'm more mature than I was, as a 41-year-old man when I started. Don't ask my wife because she may tell you I'm less mature. I've had a lot of lessons, a great deal of humility. People talk to me and say, "Oh, you got a big ego or your self-promotion, this and that." And I do have a great deal of self-confidence and for better or for worse, I'll thank my mother and father for that. I do have a great deal of humility though in people like Nick Polyak, who keep my feet to the ground, people like you, Ann, who are out in the field, people like Mort Sherman and Brent Clark, who are tremendous leaders who I've learned from, all the teachers I work with, Gita Newkirk, city manager of Highland Park, tremendous people who have accepted me, warts and all, accepted me, flaws and all, and have allowed me to lead, make mistakes, lead, succeed, lead, make mistakes. And I would be remiss, especially as a school superintendent, if I didn't thank the countless Board of Education members who've not only put up with me, who've hired me or rehired me, who've evaluated me, coached me, guided me, and have also made me a stronger leader by pushing back and challenging my thinking. So what I've learned in 16 years in this seat and probably 25, 26 years as an administrator is listen. I don't have all the answers, Ann. I'm expected to, but I don't have them. I'm not always right. Hardly. I don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I stole that quote from someone else, Steve Jobs or someone. I'm also not here to sell ice cream. I do care if you like me, but I don't care if you don't like me. I want you to like me.
Yeah.
I don't care though if you don't, as long as I'm doing something with my core values, my ethics, and what's right for kids, right for staff, right for community. I do care. I've learned a ton. And so I thank you for asking that. My gosh, so many great people have allowed me to get to where I am today. I couldn't have done it without any of them.
Well, you've mentioned Mort Sherman a couple of times, and I have to send some accolades out too. The first day I met Mort Sherman changed the rest of my life. Surrounding yourself with great leaders who are great mentors and come and help. You can pick up the phone and ask a question. I mean, it's amazing to have that. And then to have a great partner with Nick and then I'm sure your wife, right? Like
Oh,
the superintendent's job is never done. So you mentioned your wife there. I bet her job is never done as well.
she's incredible. She's incredible. And people are like, oh, is your wife a teacher? No, she was in a different career, not in education. We raised two kids. We live in suburban Chicago. She's wonderful. She's put up with me and all these stories and everything else. And she's incredible. Couldn't have done it without her support. Love her dearly. Can't wait to retire and actually get to spend more time with her.
Well, I'm
That's
going to ask you about that in a minute. I want to ask you a couple more questions first. You piloted a new program that we were launching called Eliza Chat. It's an AI companion for students. But tell me sort of what prompted you to consider, I mean, that's a bold move to pilot something like that in your summer school and, get some kids started on it. Tell me what you saw in that and what you think the future of these kind of things are.
So I have a tolerance for ambiguity, and it's allowed me to lead and drive some people crazy who I work with because I can handle the unknown. I can handle hey, let's give it a shot. I live in the maybe, I live in the gray. So a couple quick little stats. I was reading the other day somewhere, 700 million people, like a 10% of Earth humanity, each week are logging into ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot, you name it, all of them, Claude, everybody. Then I read another study that like 70% of all teens had been using the large language models, unguarded large language models for therapy or companionship. I am aware of tragedies as well that have my heart goes out to the families and the people affected. So right there, you've got this whole thing going on planet Earth where people are seeking some solace from some non-human entity. I know from what we've endured here, from school psychology, from trauma-informed practices, from a number of programs where we check in, we do universal screeners, we do mental health, we normalize it, partnership with Cook Center Family Connection, partnership with Cartwheel Cares, a whole bunch of others. I know that when you have trained therapists, when you have trained psychologists, when you have trained professionals doing something and setting it up for the good, again, going to that coalition of the good mentality, good things can come out of it. So if youth are going to chatbots for companionship and chatbots aren't trained or vetted or licensed or supported, I would say that's negative or antisocial or suboptimal as a public official. But if youth want to go to a chatbot for companionship or guidance or thoughts, I still don't like companionship, but guidance or thoughts if that chatbot is supported by evidence, research, therapists, psychology. Aha, now we're onto something, Anne. And I would much rather the youth who's going to go to this bot for advice go to a ELIZA chat that's trained by clinicians and supported by clinicians and backed by a foundation focused on this versus the wild, wild west or the wild, wild east of the unguarded and untrained.
Yeah. Well, thank you for recognizing that. And that's been really important to us as we've developed ELIZA Chat, that it's having the guardrails of the therapist like you're talking about. And it's also making the chatbot, as you're saying, guidance and thought and not a friend. We're not trying to build a relationship with it. We're trying to have a tool that they can use when they have questions or need answers or need support, that kind of thing. And then I think another unique thing that we're doing is that many of our answers are having them consider who are the humans in their life that they could go have this conversation with. I think that's very important. And then, of course, in a crisis situation or an incident situation, we have an escalation. It becomes part of your escalation plan. You just mentioned how, you have these strong escalation plans in case something happens in your school. And so this just becomes another tool in your toolbox. So
100%.
I really appreciate you taking that step and being brave and trying something. So thank you for that. What do you think your biggest opportunity and challenge has been in your role over the last 16 years as a superintendent?
Okay, so I love this question. So locally, statewide, and nationally, I'll answer three ways if I may. Locally, the greatest impact has been on helping the Board of Education of North Shore School District 112 rebuild its school district, its schools, its trust from and within the community. And roughly at the end of the day, it'll amount to about $250 million worth of investment for the next half century, physically and buildings and all of that. I'm very proud of our board. My administration came here at a low point. We're leaving at a very high point. So I'm proud of that locally. Statewide, I credit Brent Clark at the Illinois Association of School Administrators, the Illinois affiliate of the AASA, and all the great people that work at the association for statewide impact and statewide input. Because of the Illinois School of Advanced Leadership, I was able to meet with people from all around the state. We're geographically highly diverse. There's like 7 hours from tip to top, 4 hours from east to west. There's 102 counties. We're very different, but these leadership opportunities that Brent and others put together allowed us to connect. And I've got friends and partners across all aisles and all rivers and everything. So during COVID, we were on the statewide COVID task force or leadership SWAT team. And those leadership lessons of really learning with and from colleagues all across the state and having a shared commitment to leadership for kids and community, knowing nothing and figuring it out together. That's a huge lesson that I'll carry with me the rest of my career. And then nationally and internationally, thanks to Mort Sherman and Dan Dominich and Dave Schuler and the AASA, Steve McCammon at the National Superintendent Roundtable, folks like yourself, Ann, who've got this national reach, allowing me to learn and study from coast to coast, Washington State to Maine, Minnesota to Alabama, all points in between, and learn from leaders all across our nation and help me take some of that back here and apply it to the leadership team, the school leadership team, the teachers, and our kids. It's left an indelible mark on me, and I'm better for learning that from everybody else. And that's my three-part answer. Thank you.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You mentioned retirement. I am heartbroken that you are retiring from your post, but tell me your plans. What are you going to do?
So in the early 1990s, when I became a teacher, I figured 33 to 35 years later, I would retire. And who knew, what did I know at that point? Very little. So I'm going to be retiring from my post, passing the baton of leadership to Dr. Monica Schrader, who is amazing. And she's the deputy superintendent. So she's going to take over July 1st. We have a 2-year succession plan, really neat. I'm going to continue to work, serve leaders, possibly serve education, and definitely take a deep breath, travel with my wife, spend some time with my kids, contribute to society, but not at this pace and not at this pressure level and not in this fishbowl of public service, of which I'm incredibly grateful to and I've benefited from. Yet it's time for me, like I said, to pass the baton to the next generation and allow me to go do stuff that I think I'm good at, that I like, that I can choose to do.
Well, I can't wait to hear about all of those adventures. What's your first stop from a travel perspective?
Depends on what my wife says. Probably Italy. Probably
Italy.
somewhere in Italy. Yes, we've never been there.
I haven't either, but I keep hearing everybody's going to Italy. What do you hope your legacy is?
I hope my legacy is confident humility. I hope it's confident humility. We got things done and
Yeah,
we did the right things for people and we got things done. That's what I hope. I told the board when I was coming in here, I've got a big personality, but I don't need anything named for me. I'm not doing this for me. It's not about me. I want to have fun. I want to do my thing. I don't want to be a bull in a china shop, but I do want to be strong. So I hope that's the legacy.
I love that. Well, Mike, North Shore is so, so lucky to have you as their leader, being their strong leader, building their strong community. Your wife is lucky to get to hang with you for the next 30 years, 40 years, putting your focus on your family. So that's going to be exciting. And other leaders, mentoring other leaders. So thank you so much for everything you've done for education, everything you've done for technology and education, because you truly have been a technology leader in this nation. I think some of that early work helped us be ready for the pandemic from a technology perspective. So thank you for all of that. And I can't wait till I get to see you in person. We will talk soon.